One of the real cool things about having that setup right there, you can see this is now my 3D printer station. So one of the really cool things is being able to design things. I've always kind of been, I think in my mind, a creator of things. I always take things apart, put things together. I just seem to have a mind for that. So what I'm doing is I actually did a test, and this is actually a socket rail. It's called the What's Up Guy Garage Metric Wrench Rail. So I know I call it a socket rail, but because that's another thing that I have in the works. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's got the millimeter measurements and whatever for the wrenches. Same thing for the sockets. To get away from that, the cool thing about having a 3D printer, right, is being able to make upgrades. The thing creates, or you can create, its own upgrades and add-ons and just whatever. You can see on this 3D printer, it's got these bed leveling wheels right here. So there's 4 of them, one for each corner. One of the things that I was having a hard time with was trying to just, force my fingers in here to try to adjust this knob and only being able to like grab it with 2 fingers, and it just wasn't working out. I didn't design these. I actually downloaded these just because it's easier right now. I'm just, learning and I'm just getting into this, but I'll tell you right now, this machine is definitely making it easy. While Fusion, this is the program that I'm using, I'm actually using Fusion 360. There's this guy, Lars Christensen. If you want to learn how to use Fusion 360, you got to check out this guy's channel. I'll leave a link. I don't know which way it goes. I think it's funny because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be placing these wheels on these screws right here. You can see that it's got notched cutouts. I might have to do a little bit more refinement and just kind of digging out some of the extra filament stuff. I don't know if you can see that. It's got a couple of hairs in there, but I mean, you got to expect that. So I've been kind of messing around, a couple of little test things. I made that nice little SD card holder. I actually did make my wrench rail, and the thing is that I didn't really have any way to measure things. I did have my old Park Tool Company. It's a spoke length gauge, and fortunately for me, it's metric. It's in millimeters. So one side is inches and the other side is millimeters. That worked out as far as just kind of giving me a general idea of millimeter measurements. But when I designed this wrench rail right here, this was all off the cuff stuff. And I knew it was a test print, but I kind of had an idea or a general idea of how I thought I wanted my wrenches to be. Like, I'll just give you like a quick little preview of what it looks like. This is just a test. I only printed one side, and I've got to decide if I'm going to hinge the very forward part. Anyways, I'll show you what I mean. So this is the wrench rail. This is what I designed myself, and it's smaller scale right now. This was only a test. This was basically just trying to get, I guess, like the angle of how the wrenches were going to sit in this rack and the spacing. So obviously one of the things that I knew when I designed this, everything was pretty much symmetrically placed. So everything is an equal distance away from each other. The problem with that is obviously as the wrench size, goes from smaller to big, the actual metal material of the wrench gets thicker. What's actually pretty cool is that this wrench, which is an 18 millimeter, actually slides in and out with ease. The only thing I may have to do with the wrench itself getting thicker material because you're getting a larger size wrench, it's also getting a little bit taller. So as it got taller, it kind of kicked it forward a little bit more. So what I may have to do is just modify either the angle or modify the width. I'll probably modify the width spacing. If you can see this, I'm actually satisfied with how these angles go. And I did do this one here at 20 millimeters, and it went down from 20 millimeters to 4. I think I might want to have just a little bit more height. And like I said, I didn't have any way of measuring anything. Definitely going to get a digital caliper. That will help aid in a speedier process of measuring things. I've got an old, just regular caliper, but just having the digital one will just make life simpler, I guess you say. Doing coffee a different way. My wife got this percolator thing, which is pretty cool, and now we have a nice grinder. I haven't even opened it yet. Jittery Joe's. Can of whoop ass. It's actually looking pretty sweet. I have to just scale things just a little bit bigger because, like I said, this was just a test. I didn't want to waste material unnecessarily, and I'm using actually the filament that came with the printer, and I have some other filament. I got some Hatchbox PLA filament in a cool blue color. Put it in the sunlight. Yeah, so that color right there. And then I have the wood. This is going to be my workstation for my CR-10S. And I think it's funny that I'm using old CAD software as a prop for the bed as I change out these wheels. Let's change them out. What's up, Guy Garages? Going tech.